Hello model railroaders. My name's Dave. Welcome back to the layout. And as you can see, a bit of an update. Bench work, yay, complete. Was able to get everything put together, assembled, cut and assembled, and the missing three pieces are now in place. And you're looking going, why is there one section flipped upside down? Well, I've got all these bridges I need to use. So the intent is to have a seam block driving midpoint, or however it will end up sitting, and utilize a water effect underneath and some utilize the bridges to span the gap and at least make the water effect do double duty on each side of the bench. So that's where we're at. The next big step is lighting up the dark cave now that I've created, and while I've got all the cars moved away, and then do the last bit of vacuuming. So that's one of the next steps. The other is the background board has been cut, well, predominantly cut to at least the 16-inch height, and it just has to be cut to the 4-foot length. So that one's up waiting for sizing. The one beside it here is over on the floor and has been midpoint marked, so I just have to cut that with the handsaw, because unfortunately for me to get it in the vehicle I had to have the 4-foot wide sheet cut in 2-foot wide lengths, and normally I'd bring, if I've got the capability of beg borrowing or conning somebody, so to speak, into giving me a hand, I would have brought a full sheet home and cut it so that I was cutting the 4-foot widths and keeping that consistent. So now I've got to be very careful in cutting the 4-foot out of the 8-foot, because that saw kerf that I'm going to end up losing will play a function, because these are pretty close to right on 4 feet lengths that I need to do, and I want to try and minimize any space between the boards. So just, you can tell that there's grooves in them, but based on the nature of the modular style that I'm building, that's something that I accepted, that yes, I would see that, and I'm not focused on the background. It's not something that drives me insane. As I've said before, I'm not a rivet counter. I'm not even going to bother putting clouds on. At this point, I'm just going to let it go. There's a joint down here I'll probably touch up when I get the paint out, because it's there's a little bit of warpage on the board, and that's left a bit of a gap between, so you can see the edge. So that'll get touched up in that groove to make that blend in a little better. But overall, it's not something that bothers me, and the layout's for me, not for anybody else. As long as I'm happy with what I'm doing, I'm the one that has to be satisfied, not one person that may come over once every 5 years that doesn't like it. So, a bit mercenary of my outlook, but as I said, the layout's for me. I'm the one that's going to be down here hopefully every day, or at least at a minimum of once a week, enjoying running trains or working on it. So, to each their own. I'm never intend not one to open the house up for a layout tour this is my compromise to that, is bringing you guys or gals, I don't know who's watching the videos, in to see the layout as I progress with it, and that's where I'm at. So background get cut and painted, lights installed underneath here, and then probably a little more of a shelf for the tools as I shuffle stuff around to try and get some mainline track ran. I've got to tighten up where things are going. It ends at the switch here that loops around and feeds and exits the helix. So that's where I need to start and sort out, get everything moved out of that corner, get some curves drawn in, and start running track down the main line, and roughly sort out how I'm dealing with any of the spur lines for industry and such. The big thing I was looking at, I would really like to get a track up on the top of that foam where it's flat, but that's 9 inches above, and even at a 2% grade, that's going to be 2 inches per 100, 450, 500 inches, call it 500 inches, that I need to go, and of course 8 feet is 96 inches, so that's going to mean a fair bit of looping around, and then of course the added complication that I just made myself of having the water effect to there, but that would mean I'd have to get up there, I'd have to loop around probably down to about this area to start the climb up to get there, and there's just not enough length pulling cars, unless only a few cars were pulled at a time, to do a switchback that would end here and zigzag down. But I may look at that. I haven't quite decided how that will, if it will work out or not. But well, anything's open. Anything's open until it's laid out and decided that yes, it just will not physically fit in the space allowed. But quite happy to have gotten this section of the bench work done. That's been 2 years and a couple months since we moved in, so I'd hoped to within a year to be at this stage, but some health issues have prevented me from spending as much time on the layout as I would have liked. But now it's all coming together, and going to be nice being able to run the long trains completely around the upper and lower sections of the layout. So something to look forward to, and my target is to have mainline down by the end of the year, so that starting 2018 that all the mainline track is down. So that means that this section is going to be put on hold since I'm not really needing it. I can deal with that later because of the way it's designed. I can pop that section out and work on it outside of the bench work. But really, I guess the only section that I'm going to have a problem getting out is possibly this section here, the way the legs are, because I still have 3 more tortoises to install underneath. So that's going to go on hold. I'm going to focus on mainline track once I get the lighting and the backdrops background board. I'm going to call it background board situated. So enough of my rambling, and we'll see you on the next video. As always, I hope you've got an opportunity to run trains on your layout or do some work on it, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye for now.